I'm confused. On the one hand, I'm told by the government that Canadian pensions are independent of government, and they better be. I don't want Chrystia Freeland or Justin Trudeau or the Liberals, or any government member for that matter, touching my investment. On the other hand, here is Chrystia Freeland talking about how government, the federal government, is going to work with pensions across Canada. So which is it? Are pensions independent of the government, or are they not? Here's what Freeland said.
The second announcement I have to make is about pension funds. Canadian pension funds have over $3 trillion in assets and some of the world's best investment expertise. They are envied around the world.
Liberals and other demagogues love to talk about how Canadian pensions earn these huge rates of return and they are, the envy of others around the world, but they are careful to not mention the fact that the returns of the pension funds themselves are not the returns that individuals receive. So, for example, if 1 year the Canadian pension plan earns a rate of return on its investments of about 10%, it's not as though individual pensioners will receive a 10% rate of return on their contributions that they made year after year. No, it doesn't work like that. The formula is different, and the amount that pensioners receive is far lower than 10% per year.
And our pension funds invest Canadian money. They're run by Canadians who live here, who love Canada, and who would love to invest more here closer to home.
The purpose of a pension plan or a pension fund is simple. 1, earn you money and earn you as much money as possible. And 2, make sure the money is there for you when you retire. That's all. It does not exist to pump up an economy. It does not exist to hold up a country or to spurn new investment because the government says so. No, that isn't the purpose of a fund, of a pension fund. It's just to earn you money and make sure the money is there when you retire. So if funds are allocating resources in area X, Y, and Z, it's because they think, at least that's the theory, that those areas are good places to invest in and will earn them money. If they are not investing in place A, B, or C, it's because they think A, B, and C are not profitable. Freeland and the Liberals want them to invest more in Canada. That's what she wants. And it's like, well, then maybe make the country more attractive to investment. Maybe lower taxes. Maybe allow more business to work. Maybe don't impose so much socialism.
So working with Stephen Poloz, the former governor of the Bank of Canada, we have been really actively talking to our leading pension funds and looking for ways that we could create more opportunities for them to invest here in Canada to make it easier for them to do that.
Again, we just stated it simply. Make Canada an investment landing habitation. Make Canada attractive for investment. And that means, in large part, decrease the size of government, lower taxes, stop pursuing these garbage agendas. Just pursue common sense and pursue stability. Investors love stability. We all love stability. But there is no stability now with Chrystia Freeland and the Liberal government at the helm. How could there be? 1, they froze bank accounts out of the blue. No one had any idea that it was coming. And by doing so, Freeland and her Liberals introduced so much uncertainty into those markets that now people are scared to put their money here. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Can you guarantee that Trudeau won't close out your bank account? I can't. You can't. No one can, because he's proven himself able to do so and has done it already. The same is true with Bill C-69. It takes a long, long time to build a pipeline, and it takes a lot of money to build a pipeline. And you as a company will only make money on that pipeline if it does what it's supposed to do, ship oil. But when you pass an egregious bill like C-69, as the Liberals did, you say, oh, by the way, we can shut down your pipeline at any time for basically whatever reason. So you introduce as a government all of this uncertainty into the energy markets, and wouldn't you know it, no one wants to invest. No one wants to invest because people are scared that if I put $10 billion into a pipeline today, there's a chance that tomorrow Trudeau will close it and I won't be able to make my money back. So I don't blame the investors, do you?
And we've come up with a set of measures that will also be included in the fall economic statement.
Yeah, that just means a set of measures that will increase government power and control over the markets. That's what that means.
Before listing them, I do really want to thank Governor Poloz. He has worked really, really hard on this. He has come up with smart, creative ideas, and I know he has been working very collaboratively and effectively with the leaders of pension funds because
I have the smartest idea to increase the amount of investment in Canada. And it's like, start by eliminating the federal government, the Liberal government, remove them from office, make sure they're voted out. That's a great start. That's one of the best things that we could do to increase investment in the Canadian economy. Wipe out the government that's trying to wipe out the investment.
they've told me that. So what are we going to be doing?
So what Freeland does here, for the next few minutes, she just goes over different ways, and I'm summarizing now. She goes over different ways that government is going to involve itself in the pension aspect of the Canadian economy. They're encouraging pensions to invest here, here, and here. They're giving out money here, here, and here. They're trying to work with pensions and airports, for example, to increase investment. The Liberals are trying to use these big organizations, these big powers, these pension powers, to puff up the Canadian economy and make themselves, government, look better than what they actually are. That doesn't sound so right to me. I don't want that for my investment. I don't want my investments to be used as a political tool. Instead, I want my investors to simply invest as they know how, so that they will earn me as much money as possible and ensure that the money which I've invested in them is there for me and my family when I retire. That's it. That's all. I don't want them pursuing social policies. I don't want them pursuing these new age ideals. I don't want them involving themselves with government. I don't want any of that. Just make money and be smart while doing it.
There, it's Laura Stone, Globe and Mail. We've all agreed to do one question so everyone can get in. Minister Freeland, we've been reporting all week about tension between your office and the Prime Minister's office over the fiscal policy in this country. We've said that the Prime Minister is again in talks with Mark Carney to join the government, and the Prime Minister appears unwilling to personally defend you in public. How can you stay in the government when the Prime Minister continually tries to cut you off at the knees like that? And will you fight back against this effort to replace you?
Good question.
Well, thank you for the question. For me, it is a huge privilege that I do not take for granted to serve Canada and Canadians every single day.
But it's certainly not our privilege. It is a burden that we have to bear, and we are very sad that we have to bear it. It would be a huge privilege for us if you were removed from power.
It's a big deal. There are kids here who went to school with my daughter who are great young innovators, and I'm really proud to be able to offer them something that will help their company.
Offer them what? What are we offering here? More socialism? More government control? More poverty? Is that what we're offering?
I'm proud and grateful to be able to serve in the cabinet of the Prime Minister. And I really don't spend a lot of time focusing on Ottawa gossip. My focus is on doing what I can to serve Canada and Canadians in what's a really challenging time for our country.
No. So then what have you done for the last how many years? Because you certainly haven't served Canada and Canadians. You've served everyone but Canada and Canadians. And the idea that you don't focus on Ottawa gossip, you are at the center of Ottawa. You are the finance minister. You are the deputy prime minister.
Next question. Prochaine question.
Good afternoon. Jamie with City TV in Toronto.
And you're welcome for the tech support.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Funny. Yeah, a lot of laughs.
Saves the voice. Anyhow, real quickly, tariffs. We see people, premiers acting out of emotion, fear, and they're not confident in the message that's coming from Ottawa. Doug Ford is...
What is the message coming from Ottawa? Does anyone really know? I mean, we know what's going to be. We'll tell the Americans we're important, but is that it? That's all I've heard.
Wanting to cut LCBO from buying anything American, threatening to pull the plug on the hydroelectricity that goes to the States. You've got the Premier of Alberta very vocal on her confidence in the Ottawa's messaging. Why is the messaging from Ottawa not as strong as the premiers that are in the various provinces.
Okay, I kind of disagree with some of the premise of that question, but
Feel free to
let
express
me,
that.
yeah, let me talk about Canada and the United States, and let me talk about the federal government and premiers. So I have been talking a lot with the premiers of our provinces and territories. I had a good conversation yesterday evening with Premier Ford.
They always have good conversations. Yeah, it was a good conversation. Good conversation. How was your day? Oh, good. It was full of good conversations. Nothing ever gets done, but good conversations are had. Thank heavens. Thank heavens.
This morning, I spoke to Premier Eby, to Premier Moe, and to officials from Alberta. The premiers are an essential part of what needs to be a Team Canada effort when it comes to responding to the challenge from the United States. That's why the Prime Minister has led 2 meetings with the premiers of the provinces and territories, and there will be many more. Now, when it comes to what our approach needs to be when it comes to the United States, I think we've been clear and consistent. We believe that the best outcome for Canada and the United States is to work hard together to achieve a win-win. And we think that's the best.
Here's an idea for a win-win. Let's secure the border. Let's make it more safe. Let's make Canada more safe and reward lawful individuals and punish unlawful individuals, thereby allowing us to make the nation better than it is now and trade with America. Wonderful. That's a win-win.
Outcome because it is based on the economic fundamentals of our relationship. You know, Canada depends on the United States, absolutely. It's also true that the United States depends on us.
Nowhere near to the same degree. That's a laughable statement. Freeland here has been trying to make Canada seem unbelievably important with America. And of course it is. We're an important trading partner. But the idea that America depends more on us than we depend more on them when it comes to trade is nonsense. That's nonsense.
And the reality is that Canada is by far the largest market for the United States. We are a larger export market for the US than China, Japan, the UK, and France combined. That is a big deal. That gives us significant leverage. And the effort that is happening right now is for so many people from our government, and Minister Ng is part of this, from the premiers and their teams, business leaders, labor leaders are really fanning out across the United States and are saying, are talking about this relationship with the United States, we're all explaining to our American counterparts, you benefit from this trade with Canada, which is balanced and mutually beneficial. And we believe that the right path for both our countries is to keep a great trading relationship going and to get to a win-win outcome.
So Canada's largest export to the States is far and away oil and materials like oil, oil and gas and so on. Yeah, the exact same industry that Freeland and her Liberals are trying to destroy. The largest export, Canada's largest export to the States is far and away oil and gas and related products, well over $100 billion a year. This is the same industry that Freeland is trying to destroy, and yet we're supposed to think that she has Canada's interests in mind.
Having said all of that, it's really important to hope for the best and to prepare for the worst. And the Prime Minister has been clear that in the event that the United States were to impose unjustified tariffs on Canada, of course we would respond. And the Canadian response would necessarily be robust. I am confident that it would be effective.
Is that right? Justin Trudeau, known as the world's diplomat, hey? All of the countries that love Trudeau for his skills with diplomacy. Yeah, he's gonna facilitate a brilliant deal for Canada, hey?
Was the experience we had with the 232 steel and aluminum tariffs, where a strong Canadian response led to a great outcome. And as I discussed with Premier Moe this morning, that was the outcome that we had with the country of origin labeling, when a strong Canadian response led to a good outcome. Now, for a Canadian response to be strong and effective, Canada needs to be united. And that's why we need to have good...
Canada is so far from united, it is not united. You have the Liberal government that works its hardest to divide Canada.
Ongoing...
And the reason they can't unify Canada, even if they wanted to, is because you can't unify under evil. Doesn't work. Unification under evil is like a married bachelor. It's logically absurd. It doesn't exist. You have to unify in truth in order to unify.
Conversations with the premiers of provinces and territories, the ultimate response we come up with needs to be one that all of our country stands behind. And, you know, we need to be working with the provinces and territories. We need to be working with business leaders. We need to be working with labor leaders. That is what we are doing. I truly believe that a Canada which is smart, strong, and united is a Canada which will succeed.
So we need a response that all of us can stand behind, says Chrystia Freeland, which all Canadians can stand behind. Oh, we have the answer for that. We know what response all Canadians would stand behind. A new government.